Can I ask you, what do you see your own place very clearly as an athlete and as a figure in this particular dispute we've been talking about? What about other black athletes, Mohammed, like, say, take Patterson as an example, or
What Patterson?
the others, Floyd Patterson?
Oh, he's completely opposite of me.
Yes.
He ain't no way like me.
But what, yes, precisely, that's what I'm asking you about.
Oh.
What do you think about the other black athletes like them, who in their time have had influence, or would have been in a position to have influenced people, their own people and sort of thing, about their attitude, which is certainly slightly less moderate than yours, or slightly more moderate rather than yours?
Well, they go down in history just been athletes. They don't. I'm giving more praise and credit for what I'm just doing down this show than coming here and beating the 5-year English champions.
Oh, at the same time?
Because right now, black people, when you show this show, are home jumping, home shouting, because they don't have the nerve to say what I'm saying, and nobody has never said it, and they're just so happy to see a black man who will stand up and jeopardize every quarter he's got to tell the truth. So, like, Floyd Patterson and other fighters, they just don't take part. They make $1 million, they get them a Rolls Royce, they get them a nice home, they get them a white wife. Well, I made it, America's great, and the rest of them catching hell, and he won't say nothing. But when one man of popularity can let the world know the problem, he might lose a few dollars himself telling the truth, might lose his life. But he's helping millions. But if I kept my mouth shut just because I can make millions, and then this ain't doing nothing. So I just love the freedom and the flesh and blood of my people more so than I do the money. You can take it, sure, and play it right in Washington, let Nixon hear it. I'll be happy. See, so I'm not ducking and running from nothing, and this boldness and telling the truth makes me just overshadow sports greatly. You couldn't get Joe Frazier no box on this show and get an interesting subject like this. Nothing to talk about. How do you feel, champ? I did run too much.
Ali more than held his own against students who had a far better formal education than he.
I'm saying you talking about me about some draft, and all you white boys are breaking your neck to get to Switzerland and Canada and London. I'm not going to help nobody get something my Negroes don't have. If I'm going to die, I'll die now right here fighting you. If I'm going to die, you my enemy. My enemy is the white people, not Viet Congs or Chinese or Japanese. You my opposer when I want freedom. You my opposer when I want justice. You my opposer when I want equality. You won't even stand up for me in America for my religious beliefs, and you want me to go somewhere and fight, but you won't even stand up for me here at home.
Now, how many athletes today are willing to give up millions of dollars in order to work for the advancement of their people? Ali did just that. He sacrificed what many boxing historians have said for years was his peak years of boxing. It's clear from the present-day landscape of professional athletes and celebrities, they don't make men like Ali anymore. Now, we in the black community are always talking about being on code. It seems to be whenever a consequential matter arises, we only think about ourselves and our pocketbooks. As this current administration continues to dismantle the rights of Black Americans and others that our ancestors fought for decades, our celebrity class is largely quiet. When this administration targets the elimination of Black history, our celebrity class remains largely silent. Now, I'm shocked by the complacency of our people. Some of us have shown outright disrespect for our own history.
Donald Trump's team went in, they took down Harriet Tubman's picture for a quick minute. They're trying to knock out the black museums. What does that have to do with the price of eggs, and how did that impact you?
In some ways, it's a slap in the face. In other ways, I don't care. I care more about how I'm going to take care of my children.
I don't think the average American cares about that. I know I am sick and tired of seeing Black people sit there and complain about something but not taking the action and steps to actually try to change things in an appropriate manner.
Now, here's what gets me. I can't imagine any other race of people that would sit up there, get on national TV, and disrespect their own history. The idea that you don't care if this administration defunds the Black American History Museum. No other race would do that. But for some reason, black people, or let me say some black people, convince themselves that remaining silent is some kind of flex. Meanwhile, that's what they want you to do. They want you to be silent because what they're ultimately going to do is take more and more because they know that you're not going to react. I did a video about 6-7 months ago talking about how can we as black people apply leverage on the United States government in terms of reparations. And I thought the main leverage that we have as black Americans is in sports. Just imagine if the black athletes in the NFL and the NBA were to sit out a few games as a sign of protest. Think about the effect that they can have on revenue the owners would get. I'm talking about sacrifice. The problem is present day athletes aren't willing to make that ultimate sacrifice. Again, like I said, I'm stunned by the silence. Just the other day, I read something in where a museum, an African American museum in Massachusetts, was stripped of their federal funding. I think it was like $500,000, right? So this is a real attack. We're talking about book bans. It's widespread. So what this administration is doing is, on one hand, constantly attacking our history, right? And then on the other hand, he'll free some black criminals. So if he frees a few criminals that are black, then we can't say that he's racist because he frees some black folks. So he's playing us. I got to be honest. I'm very disappointed in black YouTube. Now, it's not all of black YouTube, but I would say it's at least maybe 70% of black YouTube clearly seems to be silent on the issues of how this particular administration is passing policies that seems to be anti-black American. And so the idea that they're not speaking up, not doing any videos about it, is kind of disturbing and very disappointing. They have so much smoke for the Democratic Party, and rightly so. The Democratic Party has been very ineffective in addressing the issues that are confronting Black America. However, the Republican Party has done nothing to do anything to elevate Black Americans. Yet there seems to be this silence and this unwillingness to at least attack or to criticize the Republican Party and what they're doing. So I get it. At the end of the day, they want to be able to say, well, hey, I never supported Trump. I never voted for Trump. So how can you call me a Trump supporter? So they're playing it safe. So in the event that the Democrats do well or they change their position, they could kind of walk it back. There is one group in America, you just can't say anything negative about them or criticize them. And I'm not going to call them out by name because they're very sensitive, but I'm going to use coded language. So I'm going to say the bluish community. And I know you guys know what I'm saying when I say the bluish community. All right. Now, they have a museum called the Pentecost Museum. You get the language here, the Pentecost Museum. They have a museum that's getting federal dollars that exceed the amount of dollars that the African American History Museum gets. However, they are not threatened with the defunding of their museum. Here is a museum that has nothing to do with America. However, they're getting federal dollars, taxpayer dollars to fund their museum. No one has any smoke for that. Just think about that. Not only that, the survivors of the Pentecost, get the coded language, the survivors of the Pentecost gets annual federal monies to support them. Have nothing to do with America. However, America has to support that. This particular group is able to get what they want because they have what I talked about earlier, leverage on this country and this government. This is something that Black people need to have in order to get what we want. In order to do that, we have to band together. We have to be on code. Unfortunately, Black Americans aren't on code. And this is why this government and governments that may come after this will continue to wreak havoc on Black American culture and the strides that it's made since they've been in this country. So the question I have, who is the next Muhammad Ali? Who has the courage to stand for what is right, willing to sacrifice it all for the love of their people? We don't see that amongst current athletes today. Everyone is only interested in looking out for their own bottom line, and I get it. But there comes a time when we must stand up. And I'm just afraid none of these athletes, these current athletes, are willing to do it. I hope they prove me wrong. With that, if you haven't already subscribed, definitely thumb up the video. Share this information. It's so important. Until the next time, peace.
They called him Blind Tom, but his name was Thomas Green Wiggins, born in 1849, blind, enslaved, and dismissed as worthless. But by age 5, he found a piano, and the world would never be the same. He could mimic any sound, rainstorms, birds, political speeches, then play Beethoven after hearing it once, perfectly, even backwards. By 10, he was a sensation, touring the world, playing for presidents. They marveled at his genius, while his enslavers took his name and branded him Blind Tom to sell tickets. They made millions off him. He saw none of it. They stole his freedom, controlled his mind, and tried to erase his identity. But he never stopped hearing music, creating symphonies in silence. His name was Thomas Green Wiggins, and the world will remember it.